Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves. Here we are on Christmas Eve, and well, the only thing stirring is a couple of kids downstairs playing. So I've got a few minutes up here. I'm enjoying my coffee for the day, and been pondering a little bit. Delicious. Been pondering a little bit about Christmas, and over the years, how wonderful. The time of year sometimes is really good, and sometimes it's a little depressing. But Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, they are magical. So what I wanted to do is there's a piece that I did like 4 years ago on the channel, and I just kind of wanted to redo it a little bit and let you folks know what it's like to be Santa for real. I've had some friends who would comment to me about getting in the suit, making a few extra dollars. I could play Santa, I'd be good at it, those types of things. Well, a lot of folks don't know that I was Santa for real. Back around the turn of the century. It's funny to say that, but there was a time in my life when I decided that being a tall guy and a little bit husky, I could probably make a few dollars being Santa. And the bravery, the wanting to do that came from me being a reenactor, or a living historian is more accurate. But I would dress up in period, like a Civil War uniform, or a World War II uniform. And the group I belonged to taught me some of the tricks of the trade of teaching while in those I'll just call them costumes, because they were costumes, but they were very good costumes. And I got thinking, if I can be someone else in public, in the uniform, why couldn't I be Santa Claus? And with the Santa Claus, you've got the beard, the hair, everything that just nobody really knows who you are. And that was the fun thing, is when I was playing Santa, I had one of my friends from the reenactment group, who he and his son came to visit, had no idea who I was, and it was great. There is one story that I don't tell in the video, and that is when I was in elementary school head custodian. I would play Santa for the kindergarten every year, and that was a lot of fun to visit those those big eyes. That's all I remember, is little 5-year-olds have such big eyes. They're just so in wonder of life and what goes on. They're just so beautiful. What a great age. But we had a group of handicapped kids, special needs kids, that were at my school. And most of these kids had, behavioral issues, some other things as well. But, autistic, whatnot. They would come and see Santa as well. Or I would go to their classroom, I should say. And I would see them as well. What's funny is, with those kids, they knew by the eyes. They would look at me and they'd go, "Oh, hi, Merv." But yet nobody else in the school, not even the teachers, knew it was me. It was something I cooked up with the principal, so it was a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, boy, someday I'll do a show just on the special needs kids, because they were amazing. Anyway, I wanted to share with you folks what it's kind of like just to be Santa in a suit professionally, and it's not as easy as you think. And there's a reason that I don't do it anymore, and we'll go into that. So stick with Mad Dog Merv and let's look at being Santa for real. So about 20 years ago, I decided I wanted to make a little extra money. And I took a pair of my pajamas and I made a pattern out of them, got some material, and actually built this Santa suit. So this is something that I built. I went to a shop and I got a nice beard and wig and the bells and a few other things, and I put together this and I went to town. And immediately I was able to get a job at what used to be called the Crossroads Mall in Salt Lake City. And that's where I learned to be a, quote, professional Santa and work X number of hours, have all the little kids come up and sit on your lap. It was funny that people I would run into there. This particular page is from my Santa scrapbook. And here I have a list that was given me by one of the little kids that shows all the things that he wanted for Christmas, which I thought was pretty cool. And my friend Dave Knopfinger came and sat on my lap one day, and that was a lot of fun. And then I transferred to another mall, and that was Fashion Place Mall. While I was there, Jeff Hornacek from the Utah Jazz came by one day with his family, stood in line, forgot something, left, came back a few minutes later, and got in the back of the line. I thought, what a cool guy. You know, I mean, let all these other people go, and our manager grabbed him and says, no, Jeff, you go to the front of the line. But here's another one of those cool drawings that one of the little kids had done. And, well, my friend Carl Timmerman, my very good friend, my late friend Carl, brought his little boy by one day. He didn't even know it was me, so I had a lot of fun playing with Carl, and I absolutely cherish this picture because Carl has now passed away. One of the fun things that I really enjoyed when I was Santa is I had this beautiful 1995 red convertible Mustang, and it was a lot of fun to go out and do my gigs because I did a lot of private gigs, private parties, $100 a piece. It was great money, and I would go out in this convertible with the top down in the middle of winter, and that was so much fun, especially when you're getting gas and people are honking at you. Well, needless to say, I had some kind of unsavory things happen over the years. And don't get me wrong, it's a great job, but there were a couple of things that, were a little bit difficult. I remember the one time that I saw this young man, and I thought he was kind of a jerk, gangbanger-looking kid. And he came back and sat on my lap, and I said, okay, what do you want, buddy? And he says, Santa, I only want one thing. And he looked at me with tears in his eyes, and he said, Santa, I want my brother back. And apparently his brother had been killed just recently, and we shared a good moment. That's one of the experiences. I was taking care of a family one day doing Christmas with this large family group, and the matriarch of the family had to be in her 80s, and she turned to me and she says, Santa, my husband's dying, and all I want is peace, love, and happiness in this family. He won't be with us much longer. And I had to think fast, so I turned to her and I gave her a peace sign, and then I gave her a hug, and I said, there's your peace, there's your love, and I says, and happiness, well, you've got this whole family here, and that's all the happiness that you could ever want in this world. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house, including Santa's. So, yeah, there were some touching times that I had. I have a whole book of stories like that we'll share some other time, but needless to say, it was just so heart-rending, and it was so hard for Santa to go out and have tears in his eyes all the time. I figured it was just time to hang it up. Well, due to some personal turmoil that I was going through for about 10 years, I quit playing Santa. I just couldn't get in the suit. You're supposed to be jolly and happy, and I just couldn't do it. About 3-4 years ago, though, some things turned around in my life. I had a new outlook, and I finally decided to get back in that suit. My friend Dave invited me to his family party to play Santa, and here I am, dressed up for the first time in several years, back in the suit. Thought I'd never do it again. I sure enjoyed that. I forgot how much I missed it. By the way, Dave gave me this really cool thing for Christmas that year. What this is, it's a little box. It's got a little hammer, and behind the glass it says break glass
in case of stress. And there's, a couple little bottles of Jack and Coke and a model. So I thought that was pretty appropriate for me particularly. Nothing like an emergency model to help you out under times of stress. But what was so appropriate is it's a '69 Cougar, and Dave knows how much I absolutely love Cougars. So the next year I thought we would try it again, and here I am at Dave's house, getting ready to go to his family party. Of course, he had the beautiful red Chevy truck. How appropriate for Santa to be riding around in a big red Chevy truck. So anyway, we went and did the party and had just a fantastic time again that year. And I thought, maybe I can get back into this, and maybe one of these days at least start doing some parties and making a few dollars. During this time, of course, Isabella would come with me, and she would be my little elf. And here she is hiding behind some presents at the rec center that we were at. Just as cute as could be. We did have a lot of fun in that period of time where she kind of knew about the truth about Santa, that her dad was Santa, and so she would come with me and do some of these fun things. And there's one thing I should go back and clarify, and that is that during the time I hung up the suit professionally, there was still a family that I would go visit on Christmas Eve. A friend of mine from work at Clayton many years ago, I would go see her grandkids, and she would have me give them some pajamas for Christmas Eve. A few years into that, she had her other daughter there, and I started to bring presents to that granddaughter. Well, when I got back into Santa and ho-hoing and all happy and merry and jolly, I really got into enjoying being with this family, and I got to watch this little girl Ashley grow. A couple of years ago, she was kind of somber, and she says, Santa, the only thing I want for Christmas this year is for my mommy to live long enough to watch me be baptized. And come to find out, her mother had terminal cancer, and they didn't expect her to live more than a few months. When I got out of that house, I cried my eyes out for a half hour, and I swore I wasn't getting back in. So now all I do is I go to family gatherings, my family gatherings. I wear the hat, or I might wear the jacket, but I will no longer get in the suit. I leave that for my kids or for friends that want to use it. But, well, needless to say, I'm just done.
So there you have it. I've had two of the greatest jobs ever in my lifetime. People would say, "What's the greatest job ever?" Being an NBA star, or being a heart surgeon, or whatever. No, two greatest jobs on this planet: being a elementary head custodian, because you get to deal with those kids all the time and they're wonderful, and number two, playing Santa Claus. It's a wonderful job, but man, it's difficult, it's heartrending, but the little kids you get to see are just absolutely awesome. So thanks for joining us. You folks have a Merry Christmas. Hope Santa visits you and doesn't bring you coal, which I'm kind of hoping for some coal because I need to be warm out in the doghouse. So we'll see you soon, folks. Thanks for joining us.